All right. Hey, Chris.
Hello, Steve. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Those look quite tasty.
Mm. I'm getting ready for our first episode of Lasorda's Lounge.
Well, I can see you're going to be have a nutritious snack there for our baseball conversation.
It's spaghetti and meatballs in honor of the great Tommy Lasorda himself, Chris.
Ooh, we have met the man. He is the man, the legend, Tommy Lasorda. As long as you're not
For
Dave Kingman or Kurt Bavacqua, you have fond
for
memories of Tommy.
for this day only, it's the name on the back of the jersey that's more important than the front. Because this is all
Absolutely.
about Lasorda's Lounge, our first episode.
The inaugural episode, Lasorda's Lounge. Let's do this.
Let's do
We've,
this. All
we've
right.
been talking baseball for 30, 35 years. We love baseball, but now we're getting specific to 2026, a new season upcoming with your defending Dodgers, World Series champs, and all of the other contenders.
That's right, Chris. And our love for baseball goes back to our childhood. We both played baseball. Our kids played baseball. We actually had an opportunity to meet Tommy Lasorda himself. So before we get too far, I just have to share a blast from the past. This is you and I and Tommy at Wrigley Field in 2014. Look at that, Chris.
First, front row, Tommy greeted every Dodger fan in that stadium with that lovable Tommy charm. Look at that.
He was a jolly old elf, wasn't he?
He
He
was
was he wasn't so
jolly. I'm
jolly.
not sure if that's the word I'm going to look for, but he was happy to be there. He was an emissary of baseball. He was an
He was.
emissary of Dodger baseball, and he's one of the reasons why I think we both love baseball. Vin Scully, Tommy Lasorda, Steve Garvey, all of these things we've always loved with it. And I say this as someone who I'm not a Dodger fan, but I love what the Dodgers have done for baseball and
That's
what
right.
they've done
And
for our friendship because we bonded over baseball.
we did. And growing up in LA and you growing up in the South, you grew up a Braves fan and I grew up a Dodger fan, and we've had battles over the years, Braves versus Dodgers, and just putting it out there that's I'm always going to bleed Dodger blue, but this podcast is more than just about the Braves or Dodgers. We're talking all of baseball. We're going to talk baseball history. We're going to talk today's game. In fact, our first episode is, Chris, we're going to start by breaking down each division and our predictions for 2026. And we're going to start with the American League East today, Chris.
Good place to start. It's a highly competitive league. This division's a tough one. I really put some thought into this. And, we have spent so many years arguing over who makes the Hall of Fame, whose year it's going to be, who will have to grow a mustache if our team loses, you name it. So I am so excited for a new season of baseball. And you know what? What a prime division to start off our conversation with.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen again, and I've got a few slides to help us with our conversation. This is our rundown of the American League East for 2026, Chris. All right, so let's start with the Toronto Blue Jays, who last year finished with 94 wins. They, of course, lost to my Dodgers in the World Series in epic fashion, Game 7. What a great World Series that was last year. They lost some key free agents, Chris. Bo Bichette, of course, left. Chris Bassett signed with a rival. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Max Scherzer's gone. And several other key players are out for the Blue Jays. I'm going to show off my technological acumen here. Bo Bichette led the league in hits last year. So that's a big, big loss for the Blue Jays.
And
Anything else you want to say about free
he missed
agents?
much of that epic World Series. One of the best we've seen in our lifetime. And Bichette really did not play a huge role until that Game 6 home run. He was struggling just to stay on the field. But I think for a full 162 games, that is a huge loss. I'm not so sure how they make it up. Bassett was this weird little bullpen utility belt that they had that
Hmm.
served his purpose. And I don't know where Mad Max is going now. I think he's still unsigned. But I like the Blue Jays this year. Great World Series. I think they're loaded up again to meet your Dodgers or someone else in the American League.
All right, well, let's talk about how they loaded up for this year to prep for 2026. The big signing, of course, pitching. Dylan Cease, strikeout master, came over from the Padres on a 7-year deal with the Blue Jays. Cody Ponce, Tyler Rogers. They signed Okamoto for 4 years to play third base out of Japan. So they loaded up. They spent some money and got better for
They
this
spent
coming
some
year,
money. They
Chris.
did not spend Mets money. They did not spend Dodger money, but they spent money, and I think a lot's going to fall on Akamoto's shoulders. If he performs, if he hits the way they say he can hit, that will not be a huge loss of Bo Bichette. But pitching, Dylan Cease is nasty.
Yeah.
And if you're going to compete with those top teams, you've got to have a star ace at the top, and Dylan Cease is that. You throw him in with Gossman, Savage, who was just fantastic last year in the
So
World.
good.
That's a 1, 2, 3 before you ever make it to Ponce. And don't forget they have Shane Bieber. You've got him down there 1 year option. He's hurt now, but they say he is ramping up for the season. That's a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and not many teams have six pitchers other than the Dodgers to compete for a season.
All right, so let's look at their projected starting lineup with Springer, Barger, Guerrero at the top, Kirk, Varsho, Lukes, Okamoto at third base. Ernie Clement. I love this kid.
Yeah,
Every team needs an Ernie Clement. He would look great in Dodger blue. And Andres Gomez at short. Then the rotation: Cease, Gosman, Yasavage, Ponce, and Barrios. That's pretty strong. That is a strong starting rotation.
that is a strong. Back to the lineup. There are a few things that I do worry about there as well too. A1. That's a sound of a trash can being hit I can hear in the background with George Springer. He's 36 years old, and no one has
Uh,
ever accused him of not being able to hit and hit at key moments. But you know what? He is 36, and he has not had a healthy season in a while. He had some
yeah.
huge moments, and he got hit so many times in the World Series. But I don't know what you get at over 162. So they're going to have to find ways to survive without Springer, I think, for part of the lineup. Addison Barger,
Hmm.
fantastic. I think Guerrero is one of the top hitters in the league. Alejandro Kirk, I mean, he is my lovable spirit catcher. If he steals two bases, I will run a marathon this year, I feel like. But what a great contact hitter. And they got so many contributions last year from Varsho, from Lukes, from Clement. It's an interesting deep lineup, and they produced in the World Series. 162 is different. I think they have enough to get them through, but I don't know how lethal they will be for much of the season. They're gonna rely upon that rotation.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how you feel they're going to end up, and we'll give our predictions for the division winner at the end of the show. All right, let's jump to the Yankees, who
One more thing
tied.
about the Blue Jays, though.
Oh,
One more thing.
let's. All right.
That bullpen has
Yep.
gotten better. They picked up Tyler Rogers from your most hated Giants. That
Mm,
left-handed submariner, he's nasty. You put him with Fluharty, Little, and Lauer. They have three great bullpen lefties. So I think that bullpen is going to get them through. I worry about Jeff Hoffman, that huge home run he gave up with the World Series on the line. How do you recover from that just gutting where the World Series was yours? And Hoffman is the closer, and I do worry a little bit about that. But everything else in that bullpen, I love. I think they have one of the strongest bullpens in the AL East. I think they have one of the strongest bullpens in baseball.
Thank you for bringing me back to the bullpen because that is an obvious um, error leaving that off these slides. So I'm glad you did that research, Chris. Yeah, that Hoffman home run in the 12th. I mean, that's just absolutely brutal. Gutting is a great descriptor for that. He was talking trash also 2 innings before when the bench is cleared. Oof,
It's
brutal
like
way to end the World Series.
he's looking at Otani sitting there, coming up next, thinking,
Right.
"How do I get past him?" Not
Everybody was.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm going to walk him, get past this guy, walk Otani, deal
Yeah,
with what comes next. But I think that will be a real strength of the Blue Jays this year. That rotation is nasty, and that will carry them through in their times of injury in a long season.
absolutely. All right, jumping forward to the Yankees. So the Yankees had an identical record in the regular season, as did the Blue Jays, 94 and 68. They lost to the Blue Jays in the division series. They also lost to free agency Devin Williams and Luke Weaver, two key parts of their bullpen that weren't so great last year, but still,
Yeah.
it's hard to replace Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. And they also lost Austin Slater. All right, who did they pick up though? They made a lot of moves in the offseason. They spent some money. You referred to Mets and Dodgers money. Let's talk some Yankees money also. All right, so they re-signed Cody Bellinger, 5-year deal. Probably overpaid a little bit for Cody Bellinger, but they re-signed him. Trent Grisham, they had to pay him the qualifying offer. Trent Grisham is going to make $22 million this year. That's just nuts. They acquired Ryan Weathers from the Marlins. They re-signed Ahmed Rosario. They re-signed Goldie. They re-signed Paul Blackburn, and then Ryan Yarborough, who isn't the best pitcher, but man, he got some big outs for the Dodgers as a Dodger a few years ago. So, what do you think about the Yankees this year, Chris?
Well, I think Trent Grisham's 22 million. 15 of that goes to his mustache because that thing is just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, put that mustache there. What's weird to see the Yankees. It's mostly retained, resigned. They did not
Yeah.
make any big splashes, and I think that they overpaid on Bellinger because they had to. They looked at what the
Mm-hmm.
Mets, the Dodgers, and even the Blue Jays did, knowing they needed to keep that. I think they have a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful lineup. I think it's a flexible lineup. Their bullpen worries me, but I think the start of their staff is really, really, really good. You have it right there. Garrett Cole comes back midseason. If
Yep.
Garrett Cole comes back with Garrett Cole stuff, last year, Schittler was brilliant. That is a young arm that every team wants. You know me as a Braves fan. Max Fried is just an absolute stud. He is, the reincarnation of a Kershaw with that curveball coming in at
Mm-hmm.
96, 97, just absolutely nasty. Luis Gil gets people out. I think it's a really good rotation that they have, and I like their lineup more than I do the Blue Jays. I I do not like their bullpen. That worries me. Duvall from the Giants, who came over last year, just great arm, 100 miles an hour, but a 4 mile an hour head at times. It seems like. So I worry about Bednar being their closer. Like their bullpen to me is, and again, getting rid of people who should have been good. That worries me for a full season. So I love their rotation. I love their lineup. I think it's the best in this division, but the bullpen worries me.
Yeah, look at this lineup though. So you got Trent Grisham, who again we said, yeah, marginal,
Yeah.
probably overpaid for him. But then you get Judge, Bellinger, Rice, Stanton. That's as close to murderer's row as you're going to get.
And don't forget with Ben Rice, he's going to be platooning with Goldschmidt as well too. So you have a left-right combo, both that can
Right.
hit 25 home runs. And if Stanton is out, which he is off prone to do,
Mm-hmm.
one of the others can slide in and be your DH. Jazz Chisholm at the six hole, that
Yeah.
guy is just clutch and he plays with fire. And don't forget, they also have Anthony Volpe, who is not on this list. He is hurt for
Yeah.
much of the early season, and I know that there's, gosh, what a hard thing to replace the greatest Yankee shortstop, in a very long time. And Volpe has that chance, but the media has been on him, fans have been on him. They have a great 1-2 combo that one of the two has to hit for them to really compete.
Yeah, I feel like they've done Volpe wrong. Like
Yeah,
when Boone said, we're gonna play you no matter what, and you go ahead and struggle. I
yeah.
feel like he's the kind of player, like in a smaller market, could fight through that. But I just don't. I don't know. He's certainly not. I don't see him as the Yankees shortstop that's going to be in the Hall of Fame. The Yankees Hall of Fame. He's not that kind of player for me.
I think Caballero is the smoother fielder.
Mm-hmm.
Volpe is the better hitter.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need in that lineup? Probably defense. Um,
Yeah.
probably defense. But I think, again, those are first world problems to have when it comes to a baseball team, in terms of who you're fielding at shortstop. Just going over to the NL East and see what the Braves are going to field there.
Right.
I'll take either of those two, especially with that rotation. And if Garrett Cole comes back at 90%, look out.
And
You know.
don't forget about Carlos Rendon also coming back in May.
Yep.
Let's one more thing about the Yankees. It's been 17 years
Yeah.
since they won a World Series. Pressure. There's pressure building. Aaron Judge, obviously the best hitter in the league, not getting any younger. Uh, Boone under a lot of pressure.
Yes.
Does Boone retain his job if they don't win this year?
I think he does not. I think that's it for Boone if he does not make it. You
I
say
think
Aaron
it's
Judge is
getting
the
to that
best
point.
hitter in the league. I'm assuming you're meaning the American League.
The American League.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify. Although Judge is an absolutely world class hitter and a massive mountain of a man, he is the second best hitter in all of baseball, behind someone wearing some Dodger blue there, who is the
That
best baseball player on this planet.
that Shohei guy. But pencil him in for another 50 homers this year, though. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure.
Yes.
All right, okay, let's move on to the Boston Red Sox, who were 89 and 73 last year. He lost to the Yankees in the wild card, which nobody remembers who was in the wild card, but the Red Sox were there. They lost Alex Bregman to free agency, let him walk after they talked all season about how what a great clubhouse leader he was.
Hmm.
Okay, whatever. Lucas Goliato, Stephen Matz, Justin Wilson all walked. Former Dodger pitcher Dustin May, but not a big loss. But I mean, wish him luck. He's got such nasty stuff, and I want him to do well.
Where is
And
he now?
Liam
Did
Hendricks.
he get picked up anywhere?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. Maybe our research team can look at that when I hand it off to you.
Yeah.
Um, Picked up a lot of pitching. So this team has 8 or 9 guys that could start on any team
Yes.
in the big leagues. Ranger Suarez, they signed to a 5-year deal. They acquired Sonny Gray from the Cardinals and Wilson Contreras, who's not a pitcher but a first baseman from the Cardinals. Um, this team has pitching
Yes.
like you wouldn't believe.
They have
Uh,
starting
wh-
pitching and they have a bullpen.
yes.
Again, as a Braves fan, I am not unhappy to see Ranger Suarez go to the Red Sox because he is just nasty. He deals,
Hmm.
he battles. He truly battles out there. Left-handed pitcher, he will win 15 games this year. You can mark it down. His ERA will be about 3.2. He puts you in every single game. And again, you join him with Garrett Crochet, who is again one of those top line aces, 18 and 5 last year, 2.53 ERA. He puts you in every ball game, can beat anyone out there. Sonny Gray will win another 14 to 15 games. That's just a good staff. And don't forget, it's not on the list here. They've got a backup in Patrick Sandoval, who, longtime Angel, can go out there and win 10 games. They've got some good, young, players, Peyton Toll, Connolly Early, who have a chance of cracking a lineup. They can go 8 pitchers deep on the Red Sox as starters.
Yeah.
And in a long season, that's going to matter. And what I like about them is they've got durable pitchers. I'm not worried about these
Hmm.
guys, and with backups behind them. So that's a real strength of this team.
Yeah, agreed. Garrett Crochet, as good as any starter in the league.
Yep.
Ranger Suarez, also very, very good. Sonny Gray, an incredibly capable number 3 starter. I mean, he's probably number 1 or number 2 on most teams.
Yep.
And Brian Bello, also very good. This lineup, Jaron Duran, star in the making, Trevor Story, Roman Anthony, that's a good 3. Wilson Contreras came over from the Cards, good player. That drops a little bit here in the bottom half of the lineup.
Okay.
Um, Is this enough to score runs in this very, very competitive American League East?
It is. The one name I don't see up there is that they also have Kinnear Falefa, right, who came over from the Red Sox or from the Blue
Oh
Jays.
yeah,
Excuse
that's right.
me. And although he's not fast, he's your pinch runner
I
who
think
gets thrown out at the plate in that wonderful moment that could have changed the World Series. He's a solid hitter. And I do think that he can fill in there if Marcelo Mayer does
yeah.
not really work well there.
Hmm.
Willie Abreu's fantastic. Wilson Contreras, both the Contreras brothers can just bash. And Roman Anthony is a future star. I mean, he is one of the best young players in baseball. So I think the lineup's going to score you some runs. Plus, you're playing in, Fenway that just runs get generated by that very ballpark itself. Just the dimensions of it. So I like this team, and I like they've got a strong bullpen. Whitlock, Slayton, Aroldis Chapman at age 40 is still throwing 102
Mm.
with that nasty slider. And as long as you don't know it's coming, however means that's some nasty stuff. So I like the Red Sox this year. I think they're going to be strong, and it's their fans will be happy. They've got to be a contender, certainly beyond the play. Beyond first round of the playoffs this year.
I love that pitching. I love that pitching staff. All right, Tampa Bay Rays,
Ha.
who finished above the Orioles last year. I was surprised. I thought that they were last. They finished a couple games above the Orioles last year. They finished in fourth place with 77 wins. They lost one free agent, starting pitcher Adrian Hauser. They were pretty busy. They were pretty busy in the offseason. They like three-team trades, Chris. They pulled off three trades with three-team trades. They acquired Cedric Mullins, Nick Martinez, and a bunch of prospects for Shane Baz. But then they pulled off these three-team trades. They got Gavin Lux, again another former Dodger, from the Reds. Ben Williamson from the Mariners. Jacob Melton, a pitching prospect from the and a pitching prospect from the Astros for Brandon Lowe, and Steven Wilson. The Tampa Bay Rays, they do not have a stadium to play in. That's the problem. They can't sign anybody to a long-term deal. They sign these 1 year and 2 year deals because they don't know where they're going to be in 2 years.
Or who will be in the stands to watch them in 2 years because no one goes to those
Right.
games. They have one of those teams that they're forever at the top of the rankings of prospects. They do a great job of development of talent. They can't keep talent. When they're winning, they will get fans, but they lose everyone that's there. So they always are making these short-term moves. Apparently, if your name's Lau or Lowe, both Brandon and Josh, they're going to move
Right.
you out. I guess they don't. They're afraid of that name. But I like some of the moves they've made, and I think their strength is always they develop arms. Okay, Shane McClanahan, if he's healthy, that is one of the nastiest pitchers. We talk about Crochet, we talk about Garrett Cole. His stuff is that level. He is nasty beyond belief. Um,
Yep.
Ryan Pepio again comes from your Dodger
Right.
class as well too. Nasty, good, strong. Steven Matz has forever been expected to be the star with both the Mets and the Cardinals and Boston. He's still a 500 pitcher. And Martinez, if he's your five guy, that's really strong. So again, their pitching always gets them there, and it's every year with the Rays. I'm stunned at how are they in contention when you look at the lineups. And well, and if you look at the lineups, Yandy Diaz hit 20 home runs. Camarino hit
Right.
38 home runs. They find a way to produce, and I love like Gavin Lux. You've got him at six there. I think he probably hits leadoff. You know,
He might hit leadoff. Yeah,
Mhm.
they could move this around. There's some flexibility in this lineup. Go back to the pitching. It's so crazy how the Rays always seem to have some nasty lefty
Yep.
at the top. It's a world beating lefty. He never stays with the team, but they always have these nasty starting pitchers. And I agree, they're sneaky good. They always seem to be sneaky good, and they will beat you. 77 wins in this division is not terrible. I mean,
No,
the
not
worst team in the league last year won 75 games. So it's
and
a
the Rays
strong
all
division.
the Rays always have a bullpen that these guys you've never heard of who will get picked off by every other team, but they will have a bullpen of seven guys deep that get you out before they all go
Yeah.
make money elsewhere. And this they have Clevenger, they have Baker, they have Jax, they have some guys that can get you out. So all the other teams take a look at their bullpen because you'll be pilfering them very soon when they just get out after out after out. So I like that end for the Rays. Again, there's a lot of uncertainty around the team and where they're going to play, who's going to show up, where they're going to get the runs. But when it comes to the pitching side, I have no worries.
It looks like they have that development approved for that waterfront development down there in Tampa. It ought to be pretty nice down there for the fans if they can, if that holds true and they can build that beautiful area down there. All
Hopefully there's
right, the
air
ball.
conditioning because you know what? It's hot. It is hot and muggy and humid. So hopefully it's an indoor stadium.
All right, the Baltimore Orioles ended up last place in the division at 75 and 87. Um, they lost a couple of free agents, Sagano and Gary Sanchez, but boy, were they busy.
Mm-hmm.
They were arguably had the most successful and productive offseason of any major league team. Of
Wow.
course, the big
Again,
splash.
let me clarify of any
Yeah.
major league team not named the Dodgers.
All right. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. The Dodgers open up the checkbook. That's what we do. Um, the we, meaning the royal we. They signed Pete Alonso. This is the big splash. They finally opened up their checkbook and signed a bona fide star, Pete Alonso, for 5 years. Um, they acquired Shane Baz from the Rays. Again, pitching factory down there in Tampa. And acquired Taylor Ward from the Angels, from your kids' team, the Angels.
Yes.
They acquired Ryan Helsley, signed him to a 2-year deal, Zach Eflin. So they made some big moves in the offseason. There's a lot of hope across the country in Baltimore this year.
And I think rightfully so. Again, the polar bear, Pete Alonso. We have many friends who are Mets fans who will be saddened to see the cornerstone of their team for many, many years go away. And I think that big right-handed bat, he's a leader. He's much beloved in the community. I think he's just going to be a solid, steady force because they have so many good young hitters. I think that works really, really well. Taylor Ward is shockingly good. I mean, he's going to hit 240 max, but he always drives in runs. You just don't want to
Yeah.
have him to catch a baseball because in left field, that's always an interesting thing. But Taylor Ward is going to drive in runs, so it's just another productive bat in an already good young lineup. So
Yeah.
you put him with Gunnar Henderson, Rutschman, who is the best hitting catcher in baseball. I really like the top of that lineup. And again, you have
Yep.
down there. Jackson Holiday he has star potential. I know he's struggled, but he's got the broken hand, and it's also
Right.
the hamate bone. So it's one of those that hamate bone. It's one of those that it's hard to overcome that because of I hear the pain of the shock that it includes. So he could be out a little longer than that before he can really produce. But I think you put him in, slide him in at the number 6 spot there, and you've got something. Tyler
Mhm.
O'Neill, I'm not set with. He's such a big dude, and he can hit home runs, but boy, no average. And with Ward and O'Neill both hitting 230, that makes it tough. But
Yep.
Henderson at the top, that's like a Ricky Henderson. He's fast and he hits home runs. One of the best leadoff hitters in baseball.
I would love to see the Orioles do well this year. I love that ballpark. I love that town.
Yeah.
I love the history. It would be fun to see the Orioles do really well this year. The rotation is strong. Bradish, Rogers, Baz at the top with Chris Bassett, the latest acquisition. That's a good starting four.
Yeah, Bassett gives you innings, and he keeps you in games. If for some reason Eflin really pops this year, Bassett can go back to the bullpen and give you long relief. But I think he will be used as a starter. I do worry a little bit about. They say Bradish has incredible stuff, but
Mm.
he's a high pick, and this is what scares me. He's a high pick of the Angels, who finds themselves here. and pitching and Angels just do not
Yeah.
go together, and they're putting a huge responsibility on him this year. I do like Trevor Rogers quite a bit. Left-handed pitcher, 9-3 last year, ERA below 2. I actually think he's going to be the star of this rotation this year.
Mm. All right. So that brings us to the end. So where do we think they will finish? So we're just gonna mark this up here. Let me see. We'll put Steve over here. We'll put Chris over here. All right. So let's go from number 5 to number 1. So who's gonna finish last in the division, Chris?
Well, I like the fact that we're starting our predictions off in the AL East with some of the most passionate fans in baseball who, as we build up our listenership, these are the ones we'll hear from that will let us know that we are eating the wrong chowder or making incorrect predictions. So what a place to start. We're picking number 5. I think in 5th spot this year, I think they will win 74 games will be the Tampa Bay Rays. I do not think the Tampa Bay Rays
Yeah.
have enough to sustain it for the year. So I'm taking them at the number 5 spot.
I'm with you. I think it's tough when you can only sign one player, 1 year deals, and you're not sure where you're going to play in the next couple of years. I think it's like they're on a treadmill right now. They're just kind of holding on tight until they can get their stadium thing worked out. And I think I agree. I think
Steve, I would not be
Tampa
surprised if
Bay is
they
in last place.
I would not be surprised if the Rays prove us both wrong and they win 97 games and we just throw our hands in the air like, how did that happen? But
That's
I'm taking
baseball.
them. That's baseball. I'm taking them in the number 5 spot, and I think there will be a serious gap between the Rays and the number 4 team.
All right. So that you don't have to lead off every time, I will pick the number 4 team. Um, I think the top 4 teams in this league, by the way, in this division, I think any of them could go off and make it to the World Series. Honestly, I think the next 4 teams are so good, and this is such a competitive division with such great players and great teams. I think any of these teams could slip into the playoffs and take it all the way and meet my Dodgers in the World Series once again. I think that could happen. Unfortunately, I got to pick somebody at number 4, and I am picking the New York Yankees at number 4. I
uh,
think they win 85. They win 85 games this year.
wow. Gotham is not happy to hear that. Um, you know, we've agreed on a lot of things over the years. We've disagreed on a lot of things over the year. I think you were off your Yankee rocker with that pick. But
All
I
right.
agree with you. The very first part, I will agree with you entirely. I think that, I mean, last year they had 3 teams get the playoffs. It could be
Yep.
4. The Orioles had a terrible season last year, but they're just too good. They've added too much. I think the Orioles have a chance to make the playoffs. But I am going to take the Baltimore Orioles to finish 4th this year. And I think I say 4th with 86 or 87 wins. So I think the Orioles will be
Okay.
much improved from last year, but I'm taking them at 86 wins to finish a very tight 4th in this division.
All right. Chris, you want to go first with 3, or should I?
I will take the next one at 3, and
Okay.
this is where it gets tough because now to
Yeah.
me we're talking Blue Jays, Yankees, and Red Sox, and I like
Mm.
all of these 3 teams. I think all 3 of these teams will make the playoffs this year. But I'm going to go for my 3rd pick, and I think they're going to win about 88 games, and it'll be the Red Sox. I think the Red
Yep.
Sox, with all that great pitching, I think that there's no way they can't win high 80s. But I'm taking the Red Sox 3.
Okay. Uh, my 3rd place team is the Baltimore Orioles. Much improved last year in the offseason. I think the acquisitions they've made are amazing. I think Polar Bear is going to crush it. I think they're going to love him in Baltimore. It's a great fit, and I think that team is going to win high 80s, 87, 88 games.
I think the Orioles and the Red Sox will be a few games apart. I will always
Okay.
take the pitching. I think the pitching edge will get the Red
Yeah.
Sox. But again, I agree with you. I had a hard time. I flip flopped them back and forth.
Yeah. All right. This is where it comes down to. This is where it gets hard. This is top 2 teams here. You've got the Blue Jays and the Yankees. I've got the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. I'm gonna pick next. Um, Chris, the Blue Jays are gonna finish second.
Wow. Well, I can see what that leaves. I am no dum dum. What a pick that's going to be. I could see
That leaves the Red
The Blue
Sox.
Jays. I could see the Blue Jays having a down year, right? It was such a high. It was such a heartbreaking loss. And so I think it's a bold pick to go with the Red Sox as number one for my number three. And I love it. I'm glad you're putting it out there. You've been to Fenway. You like what the vibe of the ballpark is. I
It's a
get it.
beautiful ballpark.
It's here. It's historic. We in one of our earlier podcasts we called it Mecca and Jerusalem between Wrigley and Fenway.
So
And you
true.
know what? I like it. I like the fact that you're. I went safe, and so I will pick the cliche evil empire New York Yankees
Ooh.
as my number two. As my
Okay.
number two. So I still think the Blue Jays will have enough. I love that pitching for the Blue Jays, and I think the pitching will get them through. I think they were so close last year. I'm taking the Blue Jays to win this division and the
Mm.
Yankees. So I think the Blue Jays are going to win about 98 games, 97 games, and I think the Yankees will win about 96. This is. I mean, it's a bloodbath of a division where you're going to just keep knocking off games so you're not going to have a team that wins 105 games. I think out of this division. So Blue
Hmm.
Jays high anywhere from 95 to I could see 95 games winning this division, and that's crazy,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
think
so
so.
good. Yeah.
Well, I don't think you replace Bo Bichette very easily. That kid generates a lot of offense. That's why I put them number two. The Red Sox, I think, are going to win a lot of games with their pitching. I saw this with the Dodgers in the 90s and early 2000s. The Dodgers won a lot of games, tried to win 0 to -1 with their pitching in the 90s, and especially the late 90s, and they were successful. You can win in the big leagues with five really good starting pitchers, and I think the Red Sox are going to eke out a division victory this year. It's going to be like a 1 or 2 game spread between them and the Blue Jays, but I'm going with the Red Sox this year.
Well, if pitching
Oh,
gets you through,
and
I know with your beloved Dodgers, you're pitching at Chavez Ravine. There's the hat. There it is.
there we go.
The Dodger fans are booing you. All of your Dodger friends have now ostracized you. Pitching in Chavez Ravine on a cold, damp Southern California night is much easier. Granted, you also have great pitching and have had great pitching for the Dodgers' history. Pitching in clutch situations
Great point.
at Fenway is tough. And, even though Garrett Crochet is just brilliant, all it takes is one little half swing to drive it over that short right field fence. So I don't know. The pitching, I don't know how well it holds up in that park to get you past the Bronx Bombers, to get you past, pitching at Rogers Center. Those are pitching parks, and I think their teams are built around that pitching to last for longer. So that's to me the downside of the Red Sox pitching in that ballpark, even with that staff.
All right. Well, that's why baseball is fun. You got to play the games. The worst team in the history of the game won 40 games.
40.
So you got to play the games. And
Did
that
they
was the
have?
Mets, by the way, for all you
They
Mets
weren't the
fans.
Angels. It felt like 40 wins in the last 5 years. But yes, that's those mighty Mets, the Amazings, right? And
That's right.
when we get to the National League East, I think the Amazings are going to improve upon those 40 games. We
I
will
think
find
so
out when
too.
we
I think the Mets are going to have a good year this year, and we're going to get to the National League East in a coming episode. The next few episodes, we're going to break down each division, and then when we get into the regular season, we'll have some guests on the show. Probably approach some of you viewers that are part of the original Lasorda's Lounge text thread, and we'll share what that is later. But for now, appreciate our first episode, Chris. Thanks. This was a lot of fun.
I can smell spring training around the corner. I cannot wait. Baseball is back.
Talking about spring training, we're going to broadcast live from spring training in a few weeks. So
Cactus
we
League.
hope to have you there. And if you liked this episode, subscribe, hit the little subscribe button so you'll miss every episode. I mean, so you'll so you'll catch every episode. And we'll see you here next time.
Looking forward to it. Can't wait to continue the conversation. Go Braves.
Go Braves.